every cyclist's worst nightmare. Your bike falls over and you scratch your bike. This usually results in scratches to your rear mech and or shifters. Well, fear not. I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily repair this cosmetic damage. But why? Well, some people might not be bothered about repairing cosmetic damage like this, and that's absolutely fine. But other people, their bike's their pride and joy, and they want to keep it looking absolutely spot on. Other people might want to sell their bike in the future, and having a rear mech scuff like this on a bike can really put off potential buyers. Think of it like when you repair scratches and cosmetic marks on a car before you sell it. Doing so can help you get a better price. To do this, you're going to need some touch-up paint. I got this from Legend Wheels. Different group sets have slightly different shades. They also do an Ultegra one, but as an alternative, you could actually mix your own shade and get it pretty good just using golf club touch-up paint. Similar sort of stuff. You're also going to need some wet and dry paper. 400 grade is good, and also some 1200 grade. And some tape to mask off areas that you don't want to sand down. Now, you can apply this touch-up paint directly on to the scratch for a very quick repair on either the mechs or the shifters. But for a much better repair, what we're going to do is smooth the scuffed up bit of alloy on the mech first and then apply the paint on top of that. To do this, we're going to use that wet and dry paper. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with wet and dry paper, it's basically fancy sandpaper, and it comes in different grades. The bigger the number, the finer it is. So this is 400 grade wet and dry. It cuts harsher. We're going to use that first to get rid of the big scuffs and crevices that are in the deep scratches in the alloy. And then after we've done that, we're going to smooth it out with this finer grade 1200 wet and dry, which will give us a really nice smooth surface in order to apply the touch-up paint. But one thing we're going to do, which I mentioned, is use this tape to just mask over a few of the areas that are unaffected by the damage so that we don't scuff those up with over-sanding and ruin that nice, smooth, shiny lacquer effect that's on there at the moment. So with wet and dry, you just want to use a bit of water. Just helps with the cutting of the metal. And we're just going to get to work on here. You don't need to apply too much pressure. The alloy on these mechs is an aluminium alloy, and it's very soft. So the wet and dry does cut through it quite easily. And I'm just taking this back to the point where there's none of these big marks in there. You can see as I wipe it down, see we've still got a big scratch in there. So I'm going to take that back just to get rid of that crevasse. Oh yeah, top tip when you do this, probably should have said this at the start, wear gloves. It'll stop your hands getting dirty. So I've flattened that back with the 400 wet and dry. I'm now going to switch to the much finer 1200 wet and dry to just smooth it off before we add some paint. Okay, so that is now looking nice and smooth. I like that, that's looking good. We're gonna swap and just have a look at the shifter. I'm 1200 now on the shifter. Once you've sanded it down and you're happy with how smooth it is, you're then ready to apply the paint. Before you do that, you want to clean it, wipe it down with a microfiber, and if you've got some alcohol, that's actually pretty good as well, just to remove any grease or residue, because that's going to stop the paint bonding to it once you apply the paint. Now, I'm going to apply the paint. So when you apply the paint, you want a nice, even stroke, and it'll look much nicer. Once you've applied the paint, let it dry, I would say, typically like 24 hours, ideally. At which point then, it should look really good and a massive improvement on the scuff and the scratch you had before. If you look really closely, you can see that it's been painted and touched up, but as most people would look at the bike, you would never know. The other thing is, if you wanted to improve on that further, you could polish it if you had a little micro polisher, or furiously do it by hand, and really blend it in and make it look really good. But I would say that even with the slight join mark you can see, and you can see it when you just look at it closely, you can tell, you really do sort of have to look. And I think that that is, for the time it takes, bang for buck, a really good repair. The other thing to check if your bike has taken a tumble is that your rear mech hanger hasn't become bent, which it often does. Now, in order to check that and also repair it, you can use a tool such as this Dag 3 from Park, or you can take it to your local bike shop. If you want to know how to do that, it's really easy. We have a dedicated video on exactly that. Now, I hope you found this repair useful. If you've got any mates who've got scratched rear mechs or drop their bikes all the time, then share this video with them. I'm going to go now. Love you, bye.